The following may contain language which will be offensive to some people and inappropriate for children. Still here? Then pour your favorite beverage and let's get this fucking show started.
Fantastic Forum, assemble! You are watching Fantastic Forum, the premier show about comic books and your live weekly conversation about entertainment and geek culture. We are the Fantastic Forum, coming to you live and direct from the Hall of F. Hope you're having a wonderful morning, afternoon, evening, or night, as the case may be, depending on where you are in the world. And if you're not, you should stick with us. We'll help you take it up a notch. You have the usual suspects in the building. First, he is a riddle inside of an enigma trapped in Chinese finger cuffs. You don't know him. You love him anyway. He's our silent assassin, Jay.
Hey, what's up?
Next, he's the backbone, the pillar, the strength of Fantastic Forum, our nigh invulnerable brawler, and resident strongman, Moses Magnum.
Happy New Comic Book Day.
Woo!
Dude, someone said that yesterday, and I was like, what are you talking about? Like,
was it odd?
No, it was one of the DC guys. And I was like, man, I still am not used to that.
It's like, nah, homie. Happy pre-comic New Comic Book Day. You know.
Well, you know, one thing I can't tell you, like, I'm willing to take that DC Tuesday because you know how I pre-ordered a bunch of those Spawn white covers? Mm-hmm. Like, a good chunk of them I haven't gotten because Diamond fucked up the shipping and padding, and they were all ruined. They sent me the picture, like, hey, you want a fresh one, or we can send you this one, but we just want you to know they were damaged in shipping because of Diamond. And I'm like, well, I rather, if you're gonna get replacements, then I'd rather do that. I mean, with a white cover, it's not that big a deal, but you know, I'm paying money, you know.
No, you should definitely get a crisp white cover. Why would you get a, like, I feel like it's worse for a damaged white cover. It has like a scuff on it.
Depending on who draws on it, you won't see, or they could get creative, you know. But they still haven't. Diamond still hasn't replaced those.
Damn.
So I still like. I was supposed to get this back in July. I mean, back in June.
I get all my books in pristine condition.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I was talking to the dudes. Pulp Fiction. They're like, yeah, the DC stuff, like the stuff we get on Tuesdays through those people, comes never a problem.
Wow. Speaking of which, he is our intrepid senior reporter. He's next in line for the cowl. He's our resident Dark Knight detective. It's Oz.
Sorry, there was a ghost that knocked me off the air.
It happens. We all know this. I should also mention, my name is Lawrence Young. They're coming with Mary Young. Welcome to Fantastic Forum. I am not a ghost. We got a great show for you today. We're going to be talking to you all about Paper Girls, the new show on Amazon Prime. We're going to be talking to you all about Everything is Fine, the web comic, and we're going to be talking to you all about the comic book Little Monsters. So we got all that coming up for you, and of course, whatever else it is that you all want to talk about. And we'll tell you how it is that you can get down with Fantastic Forum to let us know what it is you want us to be talking about. But before we do that, we want to make sure we thank Mr. Scott Rubin, because without him, the whole show would not have existed. So shout out to Scott Rubin. Hope you're doing well, good sir. And yeah, here's how you can get down with the show.
Want to get in on the action? Call Fantastic Forum on Skype and join the fun. Too shy to call in? That's okay. You can join the Discord chat room available at
fantasticforum.live.
Join the party. You know you want to.
Thank you very much, intern. Appreciate you. So yeah, jump into chat, whether it be on YouTube or whether it is on Twitch, like, yeah, exactly, Twitch. Whatever floats your boat. Or of course, you can jump into the show and be a guest. You can be the fifth member of Fantastic Forum. Do we have a witty chat comment to add here, Jay?
No. Tiger Claw says, "What's up, Fantastic Forum? Any of you guys seen DC League of Super Pets? It's a DC animated movie, and I gotta tell you, it is the best version of the Justice League, in my opinion.
No,
I'm the only one that watched it because I'm
Sorry.
the resident animal lover of the group.
Why are you the resident animal lover?
Because you guys hate animals. Otherwise, you would have watched the movie. Like you
Okay.
asked, who is this movie?
I watched
for?
The Bad Guys.
You asked who is this
Dude,
movie
that was
for?
so good.
And I would say this movie was made for anybody with a heart.
With a heart. Right. Okay. So wait. So you went to go see it, Oz? Did you see it, Jay?
No, I wasn't gonna go to the theater just for that. Like, I'm gonna see Bullet Train this weekend, so if it's playing before it, then I might see it. But I wasn't gonna go to the theater just for that.
Jay's got caveats. He's like, yeah, I'll watch your little movie, Mr. Rock, and
it looks awful. Like it looks really bad, and
it doesn't look awful, does it? You think it looks awful?
And it sounds awful. Like the Rock's voice coming out of that dog, like it just looks wrong. And Kevin Hart is wrong.
Yeah,
like, it just sounds wrong and looks wrong.
What's wrong?
Like I don't. These characters, like I'm not loving the voice casting at all. Like.
Really?
Well, at least for The Rock and Kevin Hart.
Because Kevin Hart is playing who? Ace?
Yeah.
That's not Ace.
Yeah, it's not even Ace. Like,
yeah.
It's not even a real Ace. It's just a random shelter pet that's invincible.
Wait, so Oz, you actually saw the movie.
Yeah.
And you feel like it's for anyone who has a heart, which we just found out how heartless Jay is, so I guess not for him.
And
you know, look, we knew
heart.
we knew that you didn't have a heart, Mo. But you know, every now and then it comes back for certain things. Not like Jay. But
I'm not going to the theater just for that.
Oz, what did you think of the movie?
It's fine. It's not bad. I wouldn't call it amazing, and I wouldn't call it the best Justice League movie out there. It's made for.
Are you sure?
It's made for a younger audience, so yeah, he liked it.
He's like, don't be talking mess about my movie. Don't be talking trash.
He can hear you.
He's
like, that's why he's barking, because of Larry's laugh.
Yeah, so
he's like, don't be disparaging pets.
It's technically a kid's movie, so it's like, it's predictable. You see a lot of what's happening, how it's gonna happen. It's cute though. It's it's a Justice League story told through animals, and I for a little bit, it's like when they first introduced the actual Justice League, I was starting to get a little bit angry because I didn't like the design, especially when my girl Jessica Cruz shows up, and she looks horrible. No, I agree.
Look, the puppy 100% feels like you're explaining it wrong.
Yeah, so Jessica Cruz especially, like, just completely like had me angry. But then they take the time to let you know that it's Elseworlds tale, like it's a different Earth, and it's really it made me feel better, even though like anybody, like if a kid's watching the movie, it's like a throwaway joke, really. But I knew what they were trying to tell me. They were speaking to me directly.
Who plays Jessica Cruz?
I don't know. Doesn't matter because it's not about the people. It's about the dogs. Well,
all of them are dogs?
No, there's two dogs. There's a pig who loves Wonder Woman. There's a squirrel named Chip. Spoiler alert.
Is he a Green Lantern?
There's a squirrel named Chip. It's another thing that pissed me off. You guys aren't gonna watch it or don't care. So the Justice League ends up adopting the pets that kind of represent them, and because Chip is a squirrel who's like afraid of everything, he gets adopted by Jessica Cruz, and she gives him a Green Lantern ring, and he becomes the Lantern Chip. And that kind of like little things like that bug me, but it's an Elseworlds tale, so it it's not that bad.
And that Jessica Cruz is a shut-in as well.
No, she's very charismatic.
They didn't make her agoraphobic or anything.
I mean, look, well, no. I was gonna say you don't really get a chance to see if she is that, but the actual Justice League is captured at one point, and that's a great opportunity to showcase that, but they don't.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, she's very outgoing, but I hate when they do like the full mask on Jessica Cruz because I like the one eye thing design, and yeah, it feels like they just threw her in because they needed a Green Lantern, and then they needed some color and some estrogen, and honestly how it feels because they don't treat her like Jessica Cruz, and yeah, you know, I love some Jessica Cruz. She's got one of the most interesting backstories for a Lantern.
I agree.
Yeah, just the way she comes into that, it's amazing to watch or read, I guess. But yeah, the story's fine. It's predictable. It's enjoyable. It's watchable, especially if you're like Jay. You're already paying like a monthly thing to watch however many movies you want. You know,
right?
That's definitely a reason to go see it.
Are The Rock and Kevin Hart funny?
Yeah. I mean, it's kid funny.
Got it.
You're not laughing your ass off, but you know, it's like Superman is about to propose to Lois Lane, and so Krypto is like picturing like them on a date, and he gives her his bowl. Like it says Krypto, she starts eating out of his bowl because that's how he sees it as a dog. He doesn't really. So it's little jokes like that. You know, it's for kids.
Got it.
So in other words, not funny at all.
It's kid funny. Don't act like you've never watched stuff that's for kids and kid funny and enjoyed the hell out of it.
Like he loved Pepper Ann.
Dude, Pepper Ann's so good.
Yeah. And that's not on Disney Plus.
Is she related to Peppa Pig?
No, Pepper, not Peppa.
Yeah.
No. What's
I don't hear the difference.
What's Salt doing these days?
Direcline chat says, "What do you think of Keanu Reeves' Batman?"
He was fine. Like the Justice League doesn't spend a lot of time in this movie. You know, I guess Superman spends the most time because Krypto's his dog. But yeah, it's not about them. It's about the animals and learning about love and family.
I'm mad that we got this before we got a Pet Avengers.
Listen, Marvel likes to be successful.
Look.
And we know DC does not, which is why they canceled Batgirl. They canceled Batgirl after spending $90 million on it, and it being almost like it being pretty much finished, and they just canceled it.
They just read on nights too.
I read somewhere that the dude that they put in charge hates colored people and agendas and things like that. What? And that's why it got like cut like that. That's why it got shut down like that. But I didn't get it from an source. But like that's just the opinion going around from people that wanted to see that movie being made.
Oh.
I heard from a different source, and they say the reason is it's kind of like he in his mind, streaming isn't worth the effort. And so because the movie is streaming quality, like streaming budget, streaming quality, he doesn't want anything to do with it. Like he wants to use it as a tax write-out.
90 million for a movie is streaming quality budget?
Yeah.
I mean,
like the normal DC budget is like in the 100 millions.
I like the idea that movie was just crap. Because every report on plot and all that I've heard from it has just been crap.
Yeah, I mean, it does sound like, because I know that I think the decision came after they started doing the test screenings, and
but
it seemed
that's what
like
was
people,
reported.
huh?
That's how it was reported. Is the test screenings was when they decided to cancel it.
Yeah,
I don't know how
and
accurate that is. I mean, that could just be propaganda. In fact,
it could be.
I at first I thought they were canceling it so that to build up a something like the Snyder thing, like trying to get some sort of
Oh,
marketing thing. But then
nah.
they like, nah, it doesn't make sense, man. 90 million, you spent the money, the product is finished, just put it out. Like
Well,
now
like
you
I
can
said,
put it on your streaming service.
the guy doesn't like streaming. Like he doesn't think that's where the money is. That's why Batgirl isn't actually the only movie canceled. The Scoob sequel got canceled because that was going straight to streaming.
Scoob?
What is Scoob?
The
Like, I know what it is, but like, what is that?
What is Scoob? Scoob is the relaunch. Basically Warner Brothers was trying to do a Scooby universe type deal, and so they started with Scoob, which introduced the new gang and the Blue Falcon and
And you
Dynamite.
say the new gang, like, so it's Scooby Doo, but without
No,
the
it's
rest.
the characters, but they're played by different people.
It's animated.
Oh,
3D animated.
yeah.
So it's like the new people who are the gang. They're new. They're all new.
Okay.
And
So just new actors playing them is what you're saying.
yeah,
Not new characters. Okay.
right.
Okay. Man.
And
Man,
so
they
that
just have
sequel got scrapped because it was going to streaming.
but it's wild because this is like the person that was basically like one of the Discovery people, right?
I'm not sure. I think so,
But
not 100%.
it like this is it felt like Discovery and Warner Brothers put a lot of resources into launching like their own streaming services. And it's wild to think that they very well might just be like, nah, you know what? We're good on that. Which, I mean, and it's not to say that like that might be a good move for them. I don't know, but it's just one of those things where it's just wild that all of the time and money spent to like make that happen, and now they very well might just be like, reverse course. Because that was the thing I was gonna say about the movie, where with Batgirl, because the way that I heard it was they're like gonna do it as a tax write-off, and they
Right.
felt like it might be more profitable for them that way, because you can't, if you put it on the streaming service, then you can't just write it off like a loss. You have to mess around, and and technically you might have to put a little bit more money into it just to promote it and stuff, so people know it's there to watch it and make it worth their while. But if you just don't put it out, which it's crazy, because this is going to end up being like one of those movies like that Fantastic Four movie back in the day, where like people are going to be like, we know there's a copy of this joint out here somewhere.
We're gonna buy it
We
from
just want to see. So man, that's crazy.
Tire Claw's asking about the Blue Beetle movie, but that one should still be going through because that's actually being made for theatrical.
For theaters, yeah.
And it's like big budget and all that.
And not a mini budget like 90 million.
Apparently, I didn't think that was mini budget, but hey, you guys convinced me.
They have to use for streaming. You have to use a certain type of camera, a certain type of resolution. It's kind of
the stills do look kind of like CW-ish.
Yeah, and it's just not. I don't think they should have shelved it, but that's the guy. I think what Marvel should do is rent it out like they do Spider-Man and just make good movies.
Well, If they're looking to recast Batgirl, I recommend Sadie Sink,
Who's that?
the redhead in Stranger Things.
Oh, wow.
She's a good
Yeah.
actress.
Well, she's
Yeah,
in
she
Marvel
is good.
now, right? Didn't she get picked up for Marvel for something?
Oh, that I don't know.
That was one
I
of the
don't know
news
about that
stories
either.
last week. But
Really? Oh. But she's like actually a kid, right?
She's 20.
She's 20?
Yeah,
Wow. Okay.
all those kids are old.
I mean, I know they're not as young as they're playing, but they're not. They're like I think like she's the same age as all, or the group of them that they're all playing, like around the same age. Like I don't think any of those other kids are 20, right? I think they're all
Yeah.
like 18, 19 years old, 17 years old. Like I think that's why I was shocked that she's 20, because I
Yeah.
thought she was around the same age as them.
Millie Bobby Brown is 18.
Right.
Only 2 years.
I think
older.
the dude, the kid that plays Mike, is like 25.
And now I have to look it up.
I don't think that's the case. I think he just looks like that. That fool look
Hey
like
guys, we have to get back to Indiana.
he look.
I
He
love
looks
you.
like
Al.
Apple's making sure his taxes are in order.
I just want them to fix Will's hair.
No, but he's gonna be a villain next season, so he needs the bad hair.
The black kid is 20.
I didn't know that.
Caleb McLaughlin. No, Mike is 19. That's a full spread.
Yeah. So, yeah, like
I love this. Tiger Claw misspelled Fantastic Four.
Holy crap. Steve Harrington, who's like supposed to be 1 year out of high school in the last Stranger Things, he's 30.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, man, it's a shame, and that Batgirl movie is not gonna get the release. Like I feel bad for all the people that worked hard on it. And
I mean, they got paid.
Yeah, but still, like getting paid, like you put a lot of work into it. You want people to see it, So it's like, I'm not saying, like, again. Here's the thing. I will say, just for myself, nothing I've seen of it impressed me. Like there's no part of me that's like, they're making a mistake. They really need to put that movie out. I would like to see it, but I don't know, like with them saying, hey, you know what? We're just gonna take this L. It's like, that might be a good move. It might be a good move, because I'm not sure how good that Batgirl movie is gonna be.
I'll tell you where I knew they made a mistake.
Mm-hmm.
I gave shit to somebody, just being drunk on the internet. I gave shit to somebody because they mentioned that Michael Keaton's Batman's in it.
Yeah.
As well as what's his face is Gordon. The Snyderverse Gordon.
J.K.
Oh,
Simmons.
really?
Yeah, and
Okay.
J.K. Simmons in it. As it's just that when I saw the post, I was like, oh, you know what the fuck you're talking about. You're just, Michael Keaton's in it. Why would J.K. Simmons be in it? Blah, blah, blah. And then I actually looked it up, and no, he was right.
That all those people are in it.
Yeah. It's like,
Yeah. We
what
knew that.
is it? Is it the future? Is it the Snyderverse? It's like, it's too.
Hey.
It's a hodgepodge with Josh. It's just like they had, like, that's what DC does. Like they have, like, there's no through line, but they want to make a through line. And look, the shit's easy to make a through line. Like CW made a through line across networks.
By the way, Batfleck is now showing up in Aquaman 2.
Yeah.
I think they're gonna like CGI him instead of Amber Heard.
Yeah.
So he might be out of Aquaman.
Well, he's America's sweetheart now because him and J-Lo got together.
That is powerful.
I'm just saying, man. It's like it's it's a wild thing that Warner Brothers can't figure this joint out. Like I was thinking about it the other day, and I was like, they might need to think about just leaving like DC properties alone for a little while, and they should just start making like friggin' like Stormwatch movies. Like just do Wildstorm characters instead, and try to see if they can make that work. Like, because like look, there's a lot less people know a lot less about those characters. It's like, maybe they might be able to make that work.
It's not about knowing, it's quality. Like quality writing, quality, it's not about knowing characters. Like nobody knew Aquaman, like nobody clamored for an Aquaman movie, and they made it, and it worked to a certain degree. They tapped into something that they could get. Nobody knows. They
just tapped into Jason Momoa.
Nobody knows Jonah Hex, but they did that.
Yeah.
And it's just it's a quality thing. It's not like they're not banking. They see dollar signs in superheroes, but they think you can just give them superheroes and you're gonna get it. And it doesn't work that way. It's story. Like that's why we read it that's why I've been reading them for fucking 30 years of my life, 33 years of my life, because of story, and so you got to have a good story and you got to execute that story well. And when it comes to an adaptation, there's a lot of things that can go wrong and a lot of things that can go right, and you got to kind of be ahead of the curve of those things. Sometimes you got to get innovative with how you tell stories. Like you look at like I was talking to a client I think it was Monday, where we talk about Marvel and how they made their shared universe, and it's like they didn't bank on a shared universe right off the bat. They gave you a good Iron Man movie and then threw S.H.I.E.L.D. in it, and then the way they connected was through the end credit scenes. It wasn't through a story trying to play and show you a character here and there, and try to connect it, whereas DC tried to jump. They had a solid, I'm not going to say it's a good Superman movie, but it was a solid movie, and they tried to jump into the shared universe right off into your Batman versus Superman, and try to jumpstart the process that in the way that Marvel did, and that's where it fucked them up, because it wasn't, they had the money to back that shit up, but they didn't think about the world building, that Marvel kind of did little by little, and with each movie and the more movies, now the movies they can't help but be connected to each other, even when they're not connected. So, so that's where Marvel has changed now. But at the beginning, they laid that foundation little by little, and they didn't bank on the connection and on that shared universe. They just gave you what they could as a good story for each movie. And after maybe the first Avengers, that's when it started connecting a lot more. But they still did it in a cohesive way, and they still give you fucking Winter Soldier. They still give you fucking a lot of good shit. Yeah.
No, you're right. You're right. Even though I still stand by my statement from back in the day, where I'm like, DC could have totally like they didn't have to build up to a shared universe. Like they could have came out the gate with a good Justice League movie.
DC is owned by Warner Brothers,
right?
Marvel wasn't. Marvel was its own studio, and then Disney bought, and so and then that's Warner Brothers is breathing down their necks for everything before there were movies, so it's like that pressure is going to make you're not going to be a good worker under that type of environment. You're not nurturing your artistry and your
it's weird because
like, man, what the fuck you doing, man? Am I the only one seeing Larry sideways?
No,
is this
he's sideways.
He just got
And
twisted.
now he's frozen.
Oh, he's frozen. His phone probably died. Oh, yeah.
There's some way to provide power to your phone as you use it. Oh well.
Well, I think, Maybe, who knows? Oz, I was gonna ask you about I read Tire Claw over here talking about the end credit sequence of Super Pets. What was that like?
It's fine. It's just Black Adam. It's Black Adam and his dog Anubis
Okay.
showing up, which is crazy because Crypto's played by The Rock. Then Black Adam is The Rock, and then Anubis is also voiced by The Rock. So it's like The Rock and The Rock. It's a lot of rocks.
Yeah.
It's a lot of
Can he
content.
do different voices? Or
Huh?
can he do different voices, or does it just all sound like him?
Yeah, like I actually throughout the movie, I for a while kept forgetting that it was The Rock. Like obviously there's times that he'll say things and that's The Rock doing the voice. It's not like Kevin Hart. Like as soon as Ace starts talking, dude, that's Kevin Hart. You know that's Kevin Hart. The Rock at least was trying. I'm not gonna say he was 100% successful, but he tried. And there's definitely a difference between the three characters as far as voices. Not a lot of difference. I want you to think like, oh, he's a masterful voice actor. No, but he tries. So he gets credit for the effort.
And now in post production they could just pitch the shift the pitch of his voice.
But they might
But
have
then
done
you
that
might
for
not
Crypto.
recognize him. So
Yeah,
they're
but
not
I
gonna
mean,
do that.
isn't that like what they did with Justin Timberlake in one of the Smurfs movies or something? So
Chipmunks.
Chipmunks, that's what it was.
And because they actually like care about the movie that they're making. I don't think Warner Brothers cares.
Yeah. It goes back to that. All right, I think we should wait while Larry gets it ready, maybe play the bumper so we can get into this Paper Girls.
Okay. Bumper.
Also,
no one needs more about gel coat.
When the fourth round,
don't you call it?
does it look good already? Oh. Jumbo Scampi for limited.
Yeah, Paper Girls. I was very trepidatious about this show, and it is the adaptation on a comic book by Cliff Chang and Brian K. Vaughan. And anything Brian K. Vaughan that gets adapted, I hate. Runaways. I didn't hate so much, but they just never ran away. And it was, the show itself was okay, but it wasn't like the comic. Yeah, and it lost a little bit of its charm in the translation, I guess. But it did what it did. At Comic-Con a couple weeks back, I was going to a convention with my sister-in-law Liz, and I videotaped her. I'm like, hey, man, what do you think of this Paper Girls? I'm like, I'm not gonna watch it. Like, we had the same sentiment. Like, it's Brian K. Vaughan on TV. It's not gonna be good. I was pleasantly surprised. So it came out, was it last Tuesday or something like that, Wednesday, and they did the batch release, all 8 episodes. So I ended up watching the whole thing in 2 sittings, and yeah, it's basically the story of these girls that joined a paper route in 1988, Stony Stream, Ohio, and it is the day after the wee morning hours after Halloween on November 1st, which they call Hell Night or Hell Day or something. And they're delivering newspapers to the town, and they get caught into a war of these time travelers. They're fighting each other, they get sucked in, and they get sent to 2019, and then later on to 1999. And and they go through their issues with that. And I guess that's the first season in a nutshell. Jay, man, what what would you tell me what you thought of Paper Girls?
I thought it was pretty interesting. Like, I don't know if I would say like a page turner, but definitely am interested in like finding out what happens. I know I started watching it. I didn't get to finish.
Okay.
I have one more episode to watch,
Okay.
and yeah, like I've been enjoying it so far. Yeah, like I like the colors. The girls are kind of like annoying at times, but in a character way, not really not like an actress, not like an acting way, but
Yeah.
like a character way.
Yeah, like
And
they're
like,
they're
yeah,
they're
they're
doing their
like
thing.
supposed to be like she's supposed to be stuck up and annoying.
Yeah. Yeah.
And she does a good job at that.
Which
And
character is that you're speaking of?
Little Tiffany.
Okay.
Yeah, she's like stuck up and annoying, but
Yeah.
in the like
Kind of judgmentally.
yeah, like too smart for her own good.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, it's interesting seeing her like do that and then come into contact with Big Tiffany, who's like, dude, you're fucking up. You're really missing out on life.
Yeah.
And yeah, so it's been interesting. It's weird. Like one of the things that I probably wouldn't care about necessarily in a time travel story is them, meeting their relatives and themselves. But this actually manages to be pretty interesting. Especially like KJ,
Mm-hmm.
where she like freaks out because she's gay.
Yeah.
And she ends up punching the other girl in the face out of frustration.
Yeah.
So
And
like,
and the way the show does it too, it's kind of how the comic does it too, where like, oh, okay, oh, this kid's gonna be a lesbian, and it turns out to be somebody else. Yeah.
okay. It was funny because I know a few scenes before that, like when she's was going to rescue, I can't think of her name, but the tomboy one,
Yeah,
like
Mac.
she goes to rescue her, and she's like on the motorcycle, and Mac is behind her, just like holding her, and I'm like, man, that girl is in heaven right now. And yeah, it turns out I was right.
Yeah, they got good gaydar.
Yeah, apparently.
I have the worst gaydar, but that's a whole other show. I could give you examples, but we'll be here for another hour. One thing you mentioned is the colors, like the way they shot it, the way it looked.
Mostly just the time holes. Like,
yeah,
they have this really cool pink, perp pink. Like, you can almost see it in our background, like our pink.
Yeah.
But like more bright and vibrant.
Right.
Like if they were a little
like
more
neon-y.
bright, yeah, with pink highlights in it.
Yeah.
Like it's just a cool looking color. Like it actually almost is like the color of night.
Yeah.
Which was also pink.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's an interesting looking thing, and the color, I don't know. I'm into it.
In the comic, that kind of plays a little too. Like the colors are a big thing, and it's not even like story wise, just the look of it, and that's one of the things that the show kind of translated well was the colors. Like even the way, the scene when they're like when they get to like 1999 and they're like sitting outside like the convenience store, figuring out where they're gonna go, and it's like it's at night. You got the lighting, the practical lighting from the street lights, but they bounce off the the traffic lights off of them, so you see like a red on the side right here, you know, and that's it looked like they painted it with light, and that's kind of what it looks like in the comic too, you know. So I was like, wow, like this actually, it's like the way they use color in the cinematography is almost a better adaptation of the show. They adapted the art style better than the story, even, you know. And you know, it's not that they did bad with the story, but it's you lose things in translation. Yeah.
Right.
Oz, did you watch Paper Girls?
Nah.
I figured.
I saw it was like it was described. The description was like Stranger Things, but with girls, and I was like, oh, it's a cash grab. I don't know, it was a Brian K. Vaughan thing.
Yeah,
That
no,
made me
it's
watch it a little bit more. Although, I mean, like you said, if they adapt Brian K. Vaughan stuff, it's not really Brian K. Vaughan stuff, right?
Well, he was involved at least.
Yeah, both him and the artist are consulting on it, and
But their executive producer credit, and the one that got me, which I don't know why, but Brad Pitt is a producer on this.
oh yeah, because it's Plan B doing it. Like, I think they bought the rights from Brian K. Vaughan, and that's
okay.
Pitt's company. Yeah. But yeah, it when you say it's like Stranger Things but with girls, like that's the easy way to put it. Because even the comic, when the comic came out, it came out I think the same year as Stranger Things, like by a couple months. You know, so it's something that he was working on, and it's basically telling those stories, but from a girl's perspective, and it kind of helps the story be slightly different than like your Stand By Me or It or Stranger Things, where it's just, you know, either a mix or boys or just boys, you know.
I know there's
And
one part where Aaron asks Mac to go steal something for her,
right,
and that's honestly pretty entertaining.
yeah, yeah, no,
The fallout from that.
and that's kind of like that, you know, spoilers. I don't know if I should say spoilers, but it's pretty much fucking like she gets her period in 1999, and she's like, I don't know what the fuck is going on. Like, I know it's a period. How do we measure? Like, why does this tampon say super and this one say regular? And you're not gonna get that from Stranger Things. You know, here they're like, well, you know, and then Mac's like, oh, my vagina is a super. Like, I know, you know, because they're like, they think it's about size, you know, because they're essentially kids. They're not even teens yet, you know, and they're just going through these like, and you know, as dudes, it's like it's all the same. It's like, oh, my dick gets hard now. Where do I put it in? You know, and yeah, with girls, it tends to be a little more complex, you know, and that's where the show like really kind of shines and differentiates from like your Stranger Things and stuff like that. Like story wise, it's like, yeah, if you like Stranger Things, you're gonna like this, but it reminds me a little more of Dark, yeah. And it's definitely like it does a real good job of establishing these characters, kind of like how it is in the comic, even though the story is a little different. You know, I was disturbed by the lack of dinosaurs in in the comic. The sky cracks open and all these pterodactyls come out and they're just picking off people. Yeah. And then here
nice.
here they used a giant robot instead. But it's the giant robot looked good too. Yeah. I was like,
That's pretty dope.
Like, I remember seeing it and it's like, huh. Like, I think something like this they would leave out of it, like the giant robot thing, because it just seems hard to do special effect wise, you know? Like,
oh god, that Ronald Reagan looked fucking awful. Like god awful.
Yeah.
Oh my, like it visually hurt me to look at it.
Yeah, it was like, especially because he came out twice, right?
I only remember the main time where he looks
Yeah,
fine when he's facing forward,
yeah, but when he
but then
starts,
he like turns to the side and it's like, oh no, that's not
yeah,
good. Like, I
it's a
mean, I'm
really,
glad. Like, if I had to choose if the money should go to Ronald Reagan or the Skyhole, I would go, yeah. Obviously, you want to put it in the Skyhole,
right.
but that Reagan looked really bad.
You would think with the deep fake technology we have now, I see better Ronald Reagan's online, like, and it looked like they use a deep fake, but I guess trying to make it fit or say the things he was gonna say, it just didn't look good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what else I can say about this other than my enjoyment. Like, even with it being different, it still captures, that girl that plays little Tiffany. That that's a star. Like her acting performance is fucking like I think it was me, Emily, and Liz, and we like there was one scene, and we're just like, man, this kid's got an Oscar in her future. Like she's just really good for being so young. I don't know if she's actually 12, but she actually looks 12 in the show, and she's just really stole the show, like performance wise, and they're all really good, but she just is that much better.
Mm-hmm.
One thing I do like, they're doing Saga on TV. They're trying to do Saga on TV, and I still don't want them to, but this kind of gives me a little more hope.
Mm-hmm.
A little more hope because this is actually pretty well done, and it kind of holds. It feels the same, it feels similar, even though it's a little different. Like, you get the stuff that hits you that you like in the comic is kind of the same stuff that you like here. Jason Mansoukas is in it. That's another.
Oh yeah, I remember thinking Mo's going to enjoy that.
Yeah, what I didn't enjoy is like, man, does he really just like the more successful he gets, like he just picks roles where he doesn't have to shave or cut his hair. But I don't want to talk shit about Jason Mansoukas because I love him, but in the comic, the guy actually looks like that. It's just a white beard, like a full white beard. Like, he looks like an actual grandfather, where Jason Mansoukas like looks more like a father. Yeah. But I'm like, okay, I owe Jason Mansoukas an apology.
She's like 15.
Like, maybe he did. Oh, really? Yeah.
I think, yeah. She was born in 2007.
Yeah. And there's a lot of Larrys in it. Like, I'm like, man, I gotta isolate that clip when they're talking shit to the guy Larry. Like, I don't trust nothing Larry says. So that's gonna be fun. I'm gonna have fun getting those. I wanted, like, man, Larry, fuck you, you asshole. Another thing that's different in the comic, there's a beautiful use of the word faggot in the comic, and that's not on the TV show. And I wish it was, because it makes that scene a little more poignant. But when
she does say something. She does say fag something. I forgot what
it wasn't when she was fighting.
No. Does she say fag or does she say gay wad?
Gay wad. She says gay wad, pussy, wuss, I think homo too, But when they're getting bullied by the dudes in like the like Jason Mask and the Freddy Krueger, so she tells the Freddy Krueger guy, when she like confronts him at the beginning, she goes, "Nice sweater, faggot." And then she makes a off-color AIDS joke. Yeah. And I'm like, man, like this kid's got balls, like, well, the somebody to talk to their bully like that has got balls. I love that. I love that in the character. And that's kind of what I she still had that attitude in the show, that character Mac, but like, man, if she would have done that, it would have been cooler. People wouldn't have liked it, but look, you can enjoy the show without liking one line, But I don't know. Maybe these days you can't.
She's also a teenager.
I know.
Teenagers just say the most horrible things.
Well,
That's why I don't go on Xbox Live.
Yeah. I only play with you guys because you guys only call me the N-word lovingly. That's why I don't play Call of Duty, man. That's like, you want to be called the N-word? Go and Call of Duty. But I can see why they didn't do it, but they should have done it. And let's see, what's the other thing? So the comic does. I feel like a lot of the things they did with when the characters, the girls met the STF, not the STF, but the other, there's the old watch and the other guys, the other army. When they met the army, they had a lot more interaction with them, and a lot of cooler shit happened on their way to get transported. In that opening scene, I feel like that first episode kind of rushed through like 3 issues of the comic like really fast, without like, so they didn't. You kind of have to piece together what's happening, but I mean, from a story and the way they presented this, it kind of, you're as confused as they are. Well, by knowing a little bit more just from being outside looking in, but the comic was a more thrilling ride in that scene when they're trying to go get their walkie-talkie back and everything, like that was a more thrilling ride in the comic than it was in the show. Just that little moment, and they actually have interactions with them and talk to them. And they fight this weird eye monster in the sewer that tries to choke one of them. And Mackenzie uses some like Atari trick that she learned playing one Atari game to defeat him. So it's like a little like mini boss fight that she had, and that was kind of cool. But it's not, that's not in the show.
Right.
Yeah, and the show was just like a was it your fuse box blowing out and sent them running into the new timeline. Oh yeah, I guess it's, unless you got anything else to say, or Oz, you got any questions about the show?
Yeah, I'm good.
All right, Jay, what would you rate this, Jay?
I would give this show a 4 out of 5. Like, I like the characters, I like the story. Yeah, like, I like it. It's generally pretty well good put together. Like, I'm enjoying it.
I would give it a 4 out of 5 myself too. Mainly like what would knock it, like it's not even the adaptation aspect, what you lose in adaptation that knocks it down. I think it was well done even with the changes. What I do knock it with is that old watch armor costumes. Like those look really cheap, and not cheap. They look like they weren't armor. They just look like they're at a spa or a cult. In the comic, it actually looks like armor, and they have weapons that go along with it too that look cool, like spears and shit. Like plasma spears. And I didn't see that in the show. I just saw the gun they used, and that's where I'm like, even like as soon as I saw it, I'm like, oh, that costume, like that's not what it looked like in the comic. Yeah. But they did good with the old watch too, and Jason Mansoukas and the way they did everything. So that's the only thing that knocks it off a point for me, is that old watch armor.
Okay. Cool.
Let's go over and switch to comics. Let me play this comic review music.
Fuck you, Larry.
Oh no, that's the wrong one. Where the fuck is Larry?
Comic book
Review.
comic book
Like
Review.
well, not like that, but like
Is he trying to get back on?
I don't know. I was gonna text him right now, but
Yeah, but if his phone's dead,
yeah. Larry, oh Larry, classic Larry. All right, Jay, you want to do Everything Is Fine first or Little Monsters?
Everything is fine. It's fine.
Okay. I want you to tell us what that's about.
Okay. I will do that. So Everything is Fine is a webcomic about people with bare heads on, and they're in a dystopian society. They're watched by the government. They're watched by their neighbors. They're watched by the police. And their memories are gone. Some of them, their dog is dead, but they feed it anyway.
Yeah,
Bearhead. I thought it was a cat.
it's a weird. I think it's a bear, but
I thought they were bears.
yeah. Once you see it, Oz, you'll see like there's. It's a distinctive style that you kind of see what you.
I mean, I read it.
Oh, okay, yeah. All right. So you saw cats.
I saw cats. I thought it was cats.
Yeah.
I mean, I can see that.
Yeah. I thought it was cats as well. And then when I was reading it today, I kind of thought bears. But yeah. But yeah, Jay.
I don't know. What do you think? Cats or bears?
I think cats would have whiskers.
Cats normally do have whiskers.
So do bears.
But the ears are pointy. So that's more cat than bear.
Plus, they're eating tuna, which I guess could go either way too. Never mind that.
Yeah. They're cat. Yeah. I guess it
Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Does it? I mean, I didn't read the whole thing, so I don't know. Does it matter?
No. I don't think it does.
And look, they got big giant heads of something. Continue. Sorry.
Right. So we basically follow Maggie, and I can't think of the husband's name right now.
Samuel, right?
Samuel.
Yeah.
Where they're kind of living their life, and when one of the neighbors gets caught for having I forgot what they call those boxes. Do you remember, Mo?
Oh yeah. The Faraday cage.
Yeah, he gets basically busted for having a Faraday cage, and that kind of prompts Maggie to work her way out of this situation. And they come under suspicion by the neighbors, and Maggie just kind of, it clicks, and she starts basically just planning how to move, like how to get out of what's the situation they're in. And it starts by building a Faraday cage of their own, and killing a policeman.
Yeah.
And framing the neighbors.
Yeah.
So, that's what our first season 1 is about.
Now, Jay, how'd you find? I know we talked about other episode, but like, what prompted you? What attracted you to this story?
Well, it's like a 2-part thing. Like, I was on Webtoons, just kind of looking around, looking for horror, And so I see a horror comic with these cute bear heads, and I'm like, "Fuck is this about?" And so I read like the first two, and I'm like, "All right, that's creepy." But then I kind of got distracted, and I fell off. I fell off of it. Well, the series just recently got promoted to a Webtoons original, so they're sponsoring it now. And so they've been running this huge ad campaign. Like the ads are everywhere. They're even doing like in-person, like guerrilla marketing things, where they'll have people like at conventions and stuff with the heads on and signs saying they're watching you, and like shit like that. And it reminded me of it, and so I thought, yeah, let me go back to that and like finish that and see more what that's about.
Okay. Oz, man, what was your impression of Everything Is Fine?
It's fine. So I was reading the first issue, and it felt like it was kind of slow at first, but then I realized what they were doing, which is actually makes the writing even better. Is it kind of starts? It's like a little mini Twilight Zone or Outer Limits, where it starts off like normal and boring, but something's off. You get that feeling like something's wrong, and it's not just the giant heads,
right?
Which I like. For a while, I thought it was their real heads, and then they show somebody where it's like all messed up, and you see their face underneath a little bit. I was like, okay, well then, there's that. And then as you get towards the end of the issue, then like they reveal something, and it's tiny, but it's enough that it makes you want to read the next one. And then you get these pages of this, slow burn, boring, intentionally boring. Like it is so boring that it is obviously intentional. And then they slowly spoon feed you the interesting stuff. And that makes you keep wanting to read the next one because you want to see where this is going. So yeah, I it started off a little bit slow, but it gets there, man. It starts. I only got about 6 issues in, and that was just a time thing, really. Even though they're only each issue is only a few pages technically, right? I guess it's not.
You can call them pages.
I call them a habit, but I guess panels.
Yeah,
maybe
slides. Yeah,
and it's this little mystery that slowly starts to build, and it's not like they reveal something in one issue. In the next issue, it's not like they reveal a little bit more about that. They reveal something else. Like the first issue is the reveal of the dog, and then another issue there's like I guess a homeless guy or something, like freaking looks like he's tweaking out, and like it's just it's a lot. It's a lot going on, and I don't want people to get the wrong idea because I say boring out of habit.
Yeah,
it's not that it's boring. It's I guess Twilight or Outer Limits.
Well, the thing is,
they do it to describe it. It's like normal-ish, but something's coming.
The way the story works is it's really they live in a tedious world because that's where the government or whatever system they live in tells them it's safe, and that's the control. The control is tedium. It is boring, but it's secure, and that's where a lot of the things, especially when it comes to the conflicts, come into play, where it's like people do these things, or specifically the neighbor does a thing that's not that big a deal, but it is there when it's faced against that authority, and then it has bad consequences. Something so simple should not have that bad a consequence, and the way they express the tedium and the consequences together really brings forth how grave and how dystopian this society is, which is it's a very, between the way the art is, the dialogue, it's a very simplistic way to really create a sense of what this world is, and it actually makes it more uneasy because when we look at our lives, or at least me in particular, like when I think about how tedious things can be, it makes me uneasy. And then experiencing that through them, it's like, oh wow, like this is like it gives me a little sense of tension just reading how tedious this is, almost like a mini creatively induced anxiety episode. Yeah. But because I remember reading it, and then Emily's like, "What are you reading? Something for kids?" I'm like, "Oh, maybe this shit ain't for kids." Like, this is fucking nuts. Yeah. She's like, "There's no words," and I'm like, "But it's fucking tense." I had to stand up to read it because laying down made me feel too like. So I'm like here with my iPad, and she's like, "What are you reading?" I'm like, "She's like, there's no words." I'm like, "It's terrifying." Yeah.
And it's some of the things that they do that are like the most terrifying are like subtle.
Yeah.
Like he's like the husband's like, "Oh, I'm gonna take out the trash," and he just starts pouring rat poison in it.
Yeah.
It's like nothing, like whatever, and then you find out why. He's like, "Dude, that's messed up." Or
Yeah.
like when the neighbor doesn't want to like go to dinner, and
Yeah.
then suddenly one of the eyes turns red on everybody.
Yeah.
And like they don't react to it really, and I'm like, "What the fuck is that? What the hell just happened?" And that's something you find out they'll explain later.
And it's
And
kind
even
of
like the first issue where she's feeding her dog, and it's like the bowl is full, so she empties it, like throws the food away, and then like refills it.
yeah.
And it's like it's just weird, like,
Yeah.
and that's before you see like the
Yeah.
condition of the dog, and it's like it's just off.
And they did, if you get later into like the 20s in chapters, they start talking about what happened before you started reading the comic between Samuel and, was it Maggie?
Yeah.
Yeah, between them, and that's even more like they give you a sense of what happened before the comic takes place, and it's like, what how did this society get like this? And it's kind of, that adds to it too. And they're kind of devising how they're going to move forward, and then the neighbors are devising what they're going to do because they're being framed before, so, and that's when the really like tension kicks up. One thing, like, technically they could have gotten this far with less chapters, but not by many, maybe by 5 less. It could have gone a little faster, but it's not like, it doesn't feel like it drags. Yeah. But the art and the sense of tension and thing, it does remind me of like how we talked about last week about like Get Out and Us, and by virtue Nope, even though I haven't seen it. But it does have like that weird Twilight Zone-y, Stanley Kubrick-y type of horror. Yeah.
Yeah.
Jay, how did you handle the lack of nudity?
I don't like it. It's like it's like I really want to see these people nude. And it sucks too, because in season 2 there are 2 characters that are nudists. Like they just let it all hang out, but it's blocked by trees and like stuff in the background. It's like, oh man, I really want to. Yeah, and I think it's a Webtoons thing. Like I think
maybe
they're not into nudity.
Yeah,
because I was reading another one of this guy's story. His name is Mike, I think, Berchon. And that had nudity too. Like that had naked people, but not when he shows butt.
Okay.
But that's all he shows. So I think that might be a Webtoons thing.
I think I'm with you. I'm with you with the nudity. Like, not that I want to see these people nude, but when Maggie was having that like weird moment of realization of what happened to the neighbor in the Faraday cage, and she was in a shower, and she's kind of having that mini breakdown that she can't share with her husband. Like, the nudity there would convey how vulnerable she feels in, or the lack of how frail things can be and vulnerable without having to acknowledge these things, because they're not allowed to express any disdain by any situation. Yeah. So it's
Mhm.
like the one time that she could be honest in her vulnerability is the shower, because she can't even talk to her husband about what she needs to talk about. So I think the nudity would have added to that sense. But I mean, the idea, the sense was conveyed, and without the nudity. But I
Mhm.
felt like if it would ever get adapted into a movie, like that'd be a nude scene. Yeah.
Right.
Like, yeah, I'm with Jay on this one. When I saw that panel, I was like, this is why Jay likes nudity, like, or wants nudity. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're already current, huh, Jay?
Yeah. Season 2, like I'm not 100% sure how far you guys are, but and this is kind of spoilery, only a little, but basically the neighbors, they've been invited to Lakeview,
Mm-hmm.
and due to circumstances they don't go, and Sam and Maggie end up going, and even their society is different. Like they have this thing of demerits
Mm-hmm.
and merits, and they have trials, and it is fascinating. Like so far, like it's been really interesting, and Mike is good at giving you like, or me, I feel like he's good at giving me just enough where I really want the next issue, but it doesn't feel like he's wasting my time.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's giving me stuff, just not a lot, like just enough to make me want to keep going back. Like not enough to buy coins. Like I'm not gonna do
Yeah.
that. Yeah, I'm not buying coins, but I did go to the coin pricing page.
What's the so coins, how does it work? I haven't had to deal with coins yet. I actually did have to on a similar app that was like Webtoon, same format, but it was for
Mm-hmm.
hentai. And that is definitely not free. So but
Okay.
how do coins work for Webtoons?
Basically, a lot of the strips are done in advance.
Okay.
So you can pay, like, they're released for free every, like, say it's released for free every Wednesday. You can pay coins and get the next 5 issues before
Okay.
anyone else. Like, you
Okay.
unlock those.
But then
So,
eventually if you don't get coins, you'll still be able to read them.
yeah,
Okay.
it's just reading it faster.
Okay. Yeah, I think I can avoid coins. That's not how the hentai one worked.
Oh, okay.
It was like a $7 a month thing.
Mm.
Like I don't need hentai that much.
Dude, there are better sites for free. Like, or I don't know what site you're on, but I
Yeah.
know like the sites I use are free.
What I like is the format. Like it's the format that fits my phone screen, and I can just
Mm-hmm.
do it while I'm like literally. I read chapter 23 of Everything Is Fine while I was like in line at the supermarket. It was a
Mm-hmm.
long line. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna read this, and it like that format is good. Like it fits. I don't have to zoom in. I don't have to do guided view. I don't have to do nothing. I just have to use my thumb to swipe. It's a really me, Jay. I'm not a big fan of like web comics. Like they're not real comics. But this is with webtoons. It's like that's as real comic-y as it gets. Like I am having a comic experience that fits this,
Mm-hmm.
and that to me that's valuable. You know, and that's
Right.
how that like before. I had read something on Webtoon before, and then like I got an ad for I guess the hentai or anime manga equivalent, And then
Okay.
in the manga equivalent, they had a hentai, like a link off to the hentai version. They didn't put them together. Like, let's see how this works. And then that one, like the hentai one, is like they're gonna charge you. The manga one
Okay.
didn't, but it's not. It's not anything real. Like, it's independent manga, I guess. So
Okay.
might find something cool there. But like, I'm sure with Webtoon as a platform, Jay, like you gotta like scour to find something good, right? Like it's not everything is good.
Right. Not everything is good. You do got to scour
Yeah.
a little bit, but they give you tools to help you. Like they tell you what's finished and what's ongoing, and it's easy to see what other people are thinking of it, like how it's rated by others.
Okay.
And yeah, like I've managed to find out some really good things in there.
No. All right. I guess it is that time to rate this. Oz, man, what would you rate Everything Is Fine?
I'll probably go with 5. It's it's well drawn. It's obviously well written. It's a good story, and it makes you want to read the next one.
Mm-hmm. Jay, what would you rate this?
I would also give it a 5. Like, I love this series. It's just weird and creepy and off. And now there's like demerit stickers and voting and everything is just, man. And like, I know I'm just excited with everything that's on the surface. Like, I know they're going to get into more, like how we got there and what they're missing, and I'm just waiting for that too. And it's yeah, there's just nothing that I don't like about this. Like,
Yeah,
even the lack of nudity is like fine.
yeah. For me, it's a 5 as well. Like one of the things where it really like cemented the 5 for me was when they just switched to a wide angle view. And in movies, when you switch to anything above a 13 millimeter lens or whatever, like you get distortion on the edges, like the lines start curving, yeah, and that adds a sense of confusion or things like that, and or uneasiness, and Mike drew that. Like there's those scenes where he does it in a wide angle and the lines start kind of distorting too, and I'm like, damn, like he really wanted me to feel this in this panel, and that to me is the mark of a well drawn, well executed story, in comic book form or comic strip.
Mm-hmm.
And he's expressing his ideas and visually and through dialogue or lack of dialogue, like effectively. So to me, that's it. That's 5 out of 5.
Okay.
Cool. And now we got to move on to Little Monsters.
All right.
For some reason, I thought it was like I kept thinking about that Fred Savage movie.
Yeah, me too. Because I hate that movie.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I absolutely abhor that movie, and my brother loves it.
Yeah.
And he used to make us watch it when he was in control of the TV. I'm like, God damn it, you've seen this fucking thing.
But the monsters turn into clothes in the light.
Yeah, I just hate that movie.
Why do you hate it so much?
I don't even remember. Like, I remember watching it and just thinking, like, shit is dumb. Like this is dumb as fuck. And I didn't even swear back then, but I still thought it was dumb as fuck. And yeah, I just could not get into it. I could not tell. Well, I know my brother; he's like super immature, so I figure like it's just beneath me.
Your little kid is beneath you.
Yeah. Because he likes dumb shit too. Like, he likes sneakers. Which,
like he buys sneakers or the movie?
no,
sneakers?
the movie sneakers.
Oh, okay.
With the old man with the skateboard.
Yeah.
Like, the bad guy was an old man who would skateboard. And it's like, the fuck is this shit? Like, come on, what the fuck is this? Like, why?
Wait, was Howie Mandel the monster?
Yeah.
I gotta watch this again.
Yeah. I love that movie myself, but I could like Jay didn't like the earwax. He didn't like the piss. That piss was way bubbly, man. Like,
I thought it was like acid. I remember being like acidy, like it melted whatever he peed on.
No, but the one he filled the kid's apple juice with his piss. And I was like, this is gross. Like, I'm never gonna look at apple juice the same. And I haven't.
Yeah, and then he like went to school in sunglasses the next day because he was tired.
Yeah, he's like hungover.
Because the light was affecting him because he was turning into a little monster.
Yeah, I don't know. I honestly don't even, like, aside from that scene I just told you, I don't actually remember much of the movie. I just remember my intense hatred of it more than I remember the movie.
Oz, did you get to read Little Monsters?
No.
Okay.
I was watching Harley Quinn because I thought we'd talk about that.
I did manage to watch that too. That was pretty good. But yeah, we're not talking about that right now. Little Monsters. It's Dustin Nguyen and Jeff Lemire's book about vampires in a post-apocalyptic world. I think was a virus wiped out humanity, right? And the little kid vampires are just running around trying to survive. And the book itself, each issue kind of gives you a little origin for one of the kids and how they became vampires in different eras of time. You know, some are like from Hiroshima, some from like the South, like during the Depression. Some from like are new from that. I guess what is it like? The year is 23 something, right? 23, 28.
I forget exactly the year.
They forget too. Like, there's no real set year, but it is like 23 something, 23, 20 something. And they actually find people to eat, and that's as far as I got in the book. I got to issue 4. I tried to read 5, but I was trying to make the show too, so I just read by the art of issue 5. But yeah,
I think issue 5 is where it gets that's where you find out who's been narrating. Like, did you get to that point?
The dude that chopped the heads off, right?
No, he's not the narrator.
Oh, okay. Then I didn't.
Okay. That was an awesome scene, though. Okay, yeah. Issue 5 is where we see the narrator, and she basically comes across. Damn it, I suck with names, but there's one of the vampires who's an artist and he's mute, and he runs across her.
Romy, right?
Yeah, Romy.
Yeah.
He runs across the he runs into the narrator, and she's kind of scared, but at the same time, he's not like doing anything. And so they end up, not in an alliance, but it's basically about to come down to the vampires that eat versus the vampires that don't.
Okay. So that's like the main conflict of the story then, huh?
It's about to be, yeah.
Yeah. And that's where I would criticize this book was like it took a little too long to get to that because I still haven't gotten to that myself. But what I do see in terms of art and getting to know these kids, because every issue serves like like the very first issue introduces you to every kid, and then every subsequent issue gives you an origin for one of these kids, and then moves the story along to where it's going to be in issue 5. So logistically, it's done well. It's a little long for my taste, so it's like I can't even criticize it too much. But you're getting a lot of information and a lot of foundation. Yeah,
Honestly, I am absolutely in love with the pacing.
yeah,
Like the slow, drawn out, like it feels good to me.
Mhm.
Like the thing about like a slow pace, like I think I just like that in general
Mhm.
when like people don't feel the need to rush to
Right.
the big thing. Like it kind of shows they have confidence in their story
Yeah.
that, we're we're laying the foundation and we think that we have this time and that if you like being a little inarticulate, but you know how some horror movies will have an opening kill?
Yeah.
To me, that just says our movie is boring, so
Right.
watch this and know that you'll get more of it.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
and I love it when things don't do that.
Right. Some
Um,
horror movies like go, when they're done well, they can go about 30, 35 minutes without anything happening, and you're just loving these characters. Yeah. And
mhm.
then they start getting in trouble, and then it's the main plot. And it works well for those movies when they're done well. When they're not,
Right.
oh yeah. And this is
Yeah,
one of
when
those.
they're not, it's boring.
Yeah, well,
But
this is
this,
one of
like,
yeah.
it's like I I'm really enjoying the mood. I like these characters. They're taking their time introducing them. You're
Mhm.
getting to know their personalities.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, you're knowing their personalities. You're learning their origins, and you're just getting like a really good feel on the world. Like
Mhm.
it, the world feels, and I think the pacing is part of that. But the world really feels desolate
Mhm.
and empty. Like it
Yeah.
feels like the end. So when they actually find a human, it's kind of like a shock.
Mhm.
Like even though I knew it was going to happen, like because of course it was, but
Yeah.
because of the pacing and the time, it just feels like a shock when you get to that first human, and it kind of goes on from there, and it definitely does get faster. You mentioned the guy with the axe,
Mhm.
who's like almost felt bad for them until I remember like they kill people.
Yeah.
But you still like at that point you spent so much time with them that you
Yeah.
can't help feeling connected. Like
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
feel bad for this kid, like he
Yeah.
lost his brother. Like
Right. And they're twins, and
yeah,
they've been twins, they've been vampire twins since like 1933, you know? And it's like
right.
yeah, no, that definitely like if you know the as drawn out as I felt it, like it paid off in that moment, It paid off when you start seeing like was it Billy, the one kid? Like
Hmm.
you start seeing him like you see him throughout every issue and he's a certain way, but then when he becomes the monster, it's like, oh shit, this kid's a different like I thought I knew this kid. And you only get that from reading 4 issues prior or 3 issues prior with him and his story. And they all have
Right.
that potential to be fucking monsters. Yeah. And it's
They all have the potential, but they all don't have the drive.
right.
Like
Yeah. Or the
some
desire.
of them are just
Yeah.
happy to stay where they are,
Right.
doing what they're doing for the rest of their lives.
Yeah. Because it's
And
the world
yeah,
is over anyway. Like they're like, what do I care? Like, I won't eat. They just eat rats here and there, and
right.
yeah.
So that's enough to sustain them. It's just the occasional rat.
Yeah, I mean,
Like, is there? Because you guys have read more issues.
yeah,
Is there a point where like one of them's starving because he's not getting enough?
they're
No.
not like starving, but their powers are like they don't have the strength, and they're not doing a lot because the world is over. So they're just hanging out. Like one's playing guitar, yeah. The others are just like looking for shit to eat later on,
The
and
twins are
they're
jumping
literally
off of
just.
shit.
I'm sorry, say that again, Jay.
The
Oh
twins
yeah,
are jumping off of shit.
yeah, and it's just they're just spending their time not doing anything. But when they first get that new taste of blood again, like you see, like even the expression on their face is different. They're like, it's like one of the, I think it was Billy or one of the other kids. He describes it as like, "Well, I feel like I can actually see again." Like he had a cloud over his eyes when he wasn't eating. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I mean, it's a really well done story. Like the art is beautiful, fucking amazing.
Oh, I love the art.
The art, yeah.
Like it's like black and white, gray tones,
Mm-hmm.
except for when Romy's painting.
Yeah.
Like that's all.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it's so great, and it's so good for the mood. Like
Yeah.
it's colors are important.
Yeah.
But it's rare where the entire book will like stand out for being dull and gray, and like it just adds to the emptiness.
Yeah. And he still managed to create like depth in architecture and environment, and even when they do just like the gradient in the background, like it's just gray behind the character, it still looks good. Like they choose it's not just plain gray, it's like gradient, like fading out and moving, and then the blood's red, so
Mm-hmm.
it's definitely like when you do black and white, you can have it be plain, and this isn't like the way they do the gray tones, the shading. I forget what the technique is called, where they do the little dot shading from the old
Mm-hmm.
comics,
Right.
and they do that too, which I just figured out I could do on my iPad. So I guess I need to learn how to draw so I can use that. But yeah, so the book itself, like I I couldn't help but think though, like if the way that the pacing in these, like if you were to buy this as a trade paperback without knowing anything about it, just liking the cover, like do you think people would get into it at the pacing, Jay? Because it would
I can
probably
say
end.
I did.
Yeah.
Like I haven't been reading. Like I didn't start off month to month. When I started, it was in like 5 issues deep.
Okay.
And so I read them like back to back, like a trade, and I was enthralled.
Okay.
Like I don't know, part of me thought it was a miniseries.
Yeah.
So I was both disappointed and elated that there's more.
Yeah.
But more elated because that 4th issue got me really hyped.
Yeah.
Like when the dude, like, yeah.
Yeah.
So I can say, as a trade, a 5-issue trade, I feel like I would feel the same way I do now because that's pretty much how I read it in the first place.
Okay. So yeah, what issue are they on now? Do you know?
It should be rounding 6 sometime this month.
Okay. So I'm in theory current. I have the first 5. And I guess that's where the trade would be like 6. And like you said, around 5 it starts ramping up. Okay. Yeah, man. Jeff Lemire is doing a lot of work. He's got the Bone Orchard stuff coming out. The Mythos. Like that's like a whole shared horror universe that he's doing.
Right. I remember hearing a little bit about that from you.
Yeah. So we'll see. We'll see if this doesn't go on a hiatus or something. But
Better not.
he probably, I think he probably worked on a lot of stuff in the pandemic and just is done with it, and he's just waiting for the artist to do it to catch up. Yeah.
Okay. I don't want to be. I don't want to have to haunt Jeff Lemire like I was doing the Liefeld.
Yeah.
Like,
what's your favorite little monster in this series?
I like Romy and I like the girl.
Was it Yuki or Yui?
Yeah. Yuki, Yumi.
Yeah.
Like, I like her. It's like there's a scene where the pack that ate the guy, they're kind of going out hunting for more humans, and it's getting dark.
Mm-hmm.
And Yumi, to me, reinforces what they go through, because it's been pretty much forever since they haven't slept in their normal spots.
Yeah.
Like, they have like a normal like sleeping area, and they're not even sure if they can survive not sleeping there.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and Yumi just kind of, she validates that, because all she wants in the world is for everything to stay the same as it's been for the last 300 years.
Yeah.
And I really enjoy that, her character, where, she just wants things to be the same. She knows her limits. Like, she knows not to go near the dead body, because she starts to, she knows she'll lose it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just, I really like her. And the other one, he's just interesting. Like, he doesn't say anything.
Mm-hmm.
They don't even gender him.
Yeah, I think they call him they, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's just like painting and wordlessly communicating. Like, he's kind of like, there's something up with him, and I don't know what it is, but he takes an arrow to the chest like a champ.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a crazy scene, because it's like the little girl's terrified and she fires, and which is like credit to her too, because she's in the post-apocalypse. Like, she shot first and said, "Oh shit, I'm sorry, you okay?" Like, once she saw as a kid, but then it's like, "Hey, I'm good," and then she learns about the horrors that she can find here. I'm definitely like really liking this book, loving the art, loving everything about it. What intrigued me the most was these vampires that were turning kids, though. Like, what was their, like, that's the question I have. Like, what was their, usually in vampire stuff, they try not to turn kids for specific reasons, and here they just specifically went after these kids, and those guys are gone. Like, all the other vampires are pretty much gone, according to the story, or you don't know where they're at. But each, like, the Japanese vampire that turned, was it Yumi? Like that character design looked just so good. It's like, I want to hear her story. Like, even her whole, like, it was right at Hiroshima, and she's like, "You see what they do? Now we can leave death behind. You'll never need to fear that death and destruction ever again." Like, I love that. I love that. And then the kids that were hungry, and it's like, "You'll never know." The one dude's like, "You'll never know. I don't need money. I don't need food, and you won't either." And then same with the other one, where like he watches his mom die from like the virus, and he's like, "That's the last touch of death you'll ever see, you'll ever fear," And like, I'm like, man, I want like a story of like a one shot or something. Like, I want to see more. Not just the kids stuff. The kids stuff's cool, But the other stuff seems so cool. Like with knowing Jeff Lemire, like I know that's all thought out, and we might get it here or there, But
Mm-hmm.
it's like I'm itching for that. Yeah, like even just the character designs, the way they look, the way they talk, like it's just intriguing, and that goes to Dustin Gwynn too. Like just the way he chose to draw them just makes them like really cool characters to look at too.
Right. One of the things I did want to ask you and Lawrence, but he's not here.
R.I.P. Larry.
Does this give off any like Walking Dead vibes to you? Because I kind of felt that when I was reading it.
It can. I didn't have. I know Larry and I talked about it earlier today. About the Walking Dead, like how you explained it to him, that you kind of felt that. I didn't feel it as much. But it is definitely like post-apocalypse, and I guess how everything is just done, and they're just trying to navigate this world. It is kind of like the Walking Deadism vibe that I would get, but the pacing of this book doesn't allow, like in Walking Dead's weird because you could have 6 issues that take place in a day, and then 1 issue that takes place over the course of a month. But you'll always get a sense of how far they're traveling or where they're going, and it's not that far. But it kind of like, it's almost like 24, that show where you get a sense of where everybody's at because of the time thing. And the pacing in this one kind of takes away from what would feel more like a Walking Dead thing. But that to me, it's not a detriment because you're getting to know these characters still. So it's like, it's more about where Walking Dead is about the story about the people that are left over dealing with these zombies. This story is more about, so far for me, is these kids, how are they going to eat now that they got a taste for food? Yeah. And they just found something. So it may be like, Walking Dead in like later issues when they find, a good community or a good city. Like that's the feel I would get there. But from like the starting points, it doesn't have too much of the Walking Dead feel, but it definitely like a good post-apocalyptic, interesting way to express a post-apocalyptic story, for sure.
Okay.
Larry, what do you think?
Yeah, did he give you any clue to how he felt about the book?
Yeah, I said, Larry, what would you do if a kid showed up with fangs? And he just said, yeah.
Oh.
No, he didn't. We when we do discuss what we are going to talk about the show, we don't like go into an analysis too much, unless it's something really, really good, and I'm trying to work out like a joke or a thought, and I see his reaction there, and then But we usually, when we do talk on Wednesdays, we don't delve into a deep analysis and what we're reviewing. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's time to rate it. Oz, man, what would you give Little Monsters?
Well, I didn't read it, but
what would you give our review?
Our review sounds interesting.
Yeah.
I did see some of the pages, so the art's great. Like you guys talked about it. It's it's good. I like the art. It's a little misleading because the cover is all color and like specific art style, and then you open it and it's the art style is similar. I don't know if it's the same artist, but it's similar except not colored in. It's like, oh, they forgot to get the. Makes me want to go in there with a crayon.
Look, get an iPad, man. You could color in an iPad.
Yeah, no, but the art's good, and you guys make the story sound interesting. And Jeff Lemire is a talented storyteller.
Yeah,
yeah, all that makes it sound like something people should pick up.
I wonder if he had any like childhood trauma or something. I gotta ask him that because like all his characters are like kids, in a specific, and they're locked in like, in Sweet Tooth, like he's 8 years old and the whole story takes place when he's 8 years old until you get to the end, whatever, and then even in Sweet Tooth: The Return, it's like the next kid and it's the same age,
I
and then
forget, I forget who it was, but there's somebody, there's one of these like I think horror directors who said that their biggest influence was their grandma would tell them all these fucked up stories.
Yeah.
And like it's not trauma necessarily, but
it can be if you're a little kid trying to go to sleep. Yeah.
Right. So like
all of a sudden your grandma tells you about a cuckoo and you're fucking pissing the bed. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't see it as trauma because I got a lot of those stories and they're messed up, but I think I'm fine. But I'm not.
As you finish your whole 6-pack on a Wednesday.
I'm not a talented writer either. Like
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because in Descender, like that's another, like it's the same age group. I think the little dude is 8 or so, but he's even a robot, so he's not even like aged necessarily. He's like a replicant, And that's the next thing that's going to be turned into a movie or show, I think, for Jeff Lemire. The Bone Orchard stuff I haven't read, but even with a Family Tree, like that has a little main character that's a little like a third grader or something, or 5th grader. Yeah. Huh. Gotta ask him that. They'll probably tell me, "Fuck you. You're not my therapist." All right. Look, we look. Thanks to Larry not being here, we getting out of here somewhat on time. So.
Well, do we rate it yet?
Oh yeah,
Oz did.
Yeah, Jay, man, go ahead, give me a rating.
I would give it a 6 out of 5.
6 out of 5.
Like it was so good and so well paced, and I love these characters, and yeah, I love the art and the colors. Oh, I love that kid getting his head cut off.
Yeah, dude. Like it was a striking image because it wasn't necessarily like a splash page, right? It was still just like
I think it was like a one
page spread. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was just so dynamic. And
yeah,
so it's good. I should have taken a screenshot and put it up, but we did.
Right. Next time.
Yeah. And for me, it's 4.5 out of 5. Like I had a couple issues with the pacing, but I wouldn't change it, but I would enjoy a little faster pacing. Yeah. But it did ultimately, anything they set up in those slow issues, if I can call them that, it paid off by the time you get to issue 4 and 5. So, it's definitely not a detriment. But yeah, 4.5 out of 5 for me. You got any news stories or anything, or you want to head out? I know you gotta head out early too, right? Because the work.
No, I got all the time in the world today.
Oh hell yeah! 3-hour show. Larry, come back.
He's asleep already.
Yeah.
But let me check our Discord real quick.
Okay.
To see if there's any news.
I'll do a news theme in the meantime.
Comic book news.
We should have a
comic book
like current. Well, not like that, but like one of the things there was we had a death in comics. Alan Grant. Alan Grant was a dude. I forget who he created. Like, I think he created Judge Death, but he wrote a book that like really hit me when I was a little kid, and it was the Batman Judge Dredd Elseworlds crossover. And then he did a couple. I think he created the the Scarface, the puppet, and Mary the was it the ventriloquist villain for Batman? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He created him, and but he did write that one Batman, and then a lot of the Lobo stuff I read as a kid was written by him. And yeah, it's just he was one of the impressionable writers to me. And hey, he's old as fuck, but he, there's I don't have any details on how he passed, but hopefully it was peaceful and with no pain. One of the Kickstarter people that I buy comics from that you know are I'm not gonna review his books right now, but I've only bought one, and but he had a lot of like he would send Alan Grant stuff to read, and he would give him Alan Grant would read it and give him constructive criticism on everything, and it's just one of those things. Like from what I'm hearing, the chatter on the internet is he was a really good dude to people coming up in comics, and yeah, he's gonna be missed. Yeah.
In other news, Square Enix has a manga app, and it is fucked.
Is it?
Basically, they've been censoring, like putting huge black censor bars on pretty much everything. Like even like when people are clothed, they're still putting censor bars on it.
Like if their nipples are showing, if it's the AC's on.
No, like without the nipples, like they're just wearing a top, but they'll censor it. It's it's really weird. Like
what's the app called?
Oh, sorry. The app is called Manga Up.
Okay. I'm downloading it.
Yeah, for the English release. They think they might be using like a algorithm based censoring.
Oh, that's the worst.
But it's like getting everything. Like, yeah, it's weird. Like, let me show you this one page as an example. So this woman is wearing jeans and they've censored it.
Oh, wow. So like there might or might not be camel toe there. It doesn't look like that. But.
I mean, do you like obviously there's more than one panel of this outfit. Does she have a camel toe?
No.
The other panels?
Is it censored in other panels?
I don't. Let me check some of the other. Like this is just the page they show.
When I was a little kid,
like I'm reading.
My
but she's nude.
My parents had those like Mexican manga.
Yeah,
the little Reader Digest books.
Tijuana Bibles.
Yeah, and I don't know. My dumb ass for some reason like got one, and there was like a naked chick in it, and it wasn't censored, but it was like Barbie doll naked, where it's just
yeah.
And I like drew the little line.
Now they can't get their Tijuana Bibles graded.
No, it was like my mom owned a beauty salon, so it was just like reading material. She wasn't happy. There was a lot of questions asked that day.
And I think, because you have Android, right, Jay?
Mm-hmm.
And you're reading it on
No, I just saw the news story. Like,
Okay.
I'm not gonna waste my time with censored.
Okay. There's a lot. Like the bars suck. Like
It's just weird where that they put a bar over like where it's not supposed to be a bar.
Mm-hmm.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's fucked. Like I said, the app is fucked.
It is fucked. So I'll share something with you guys real quick. I think I just got banned.
Didn't you just download it?
Well, no, I wanted to show the bars. Like, you know what? Let me see. Maybe. Okay, because the bars get annoying when it comes to like, it's just so many, you know. But there was one page and it looked fine because it was like a splash page, but in the next page it was like full on panels and the bars are just ridiculously big. Like, let's see here. Okay. Like, I understand, you want to censor, but like, I don't know. It just, there's a way to do it where it's not intrusive to your reading experience,
But I mean, they're literally censoring clothing. Like,
Yeah. Yeah,
it's,
no, that's really, yeah. I know that is ridiculous, but like this chick's naked here, right? So I get it, but that big
Mhm.
bar in the center doesn't need to be that big, right? Like they don't even want you to see like cleavage or side boob, and it's like you get side boob on like network television, yeah.
Mhm.
And then let's see. Oh, wrong one. Sorry. But then there's this like, and you're reading these panels, and the bars are just there because it is a black and white book. It's still like the black just sticks out so much to me, yeah.
Mhm.
And then I got that. That was
Oh, yes.
yeah.
A lot of people are getting like super touchy about screenshots, and
Yeah.
It's like just let us screenshot. Like as long as
Yeah.
we're not pirating, like
The thing is,
if we don't
half the
go
time you're
ahead.
screenshotting to share something that will in turn promote your product, and it's not like yeah, like fucking you're gonna share it on Twitter or Instagram or even Facebook, and it's not like these people give you like a high resolution. Like you could take a really good screenshot, looks great on your screen on your iPad, and once you share it, it looks like shit, so it's not like you're reproducing it to make money. You're talking about in something you like a really good panel in a comic, or you know a really good line that might get somebody to want to buy that comic or even download that app to read it. So we are in a social society in terms of promotion. Like that's your marketing is partly is based. You want your customers to market for you in a sense, yeah.
Mhm.
And that's not the screenshot. I can understand like maybe video clips, but even then it's still like it's not like you're not gonna get the same quality of video like on Netflix as you're gonna get off somebody posting a clip on Instagram, or even YouTube for that matter,
Right.
yeah. Well, like I'm glad I found this manga up. Now I gotta find a way to um buy this comic or get this manga without without the censorship.
Right.
I don't even know which was the one I was reading.
So is that it?
I think that's it. Oh, this one's in color. No, that's not it. Yeah. Hey, look, we're doing coming in a tight 2, you know, do a little news story, little.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't you give us some final thoughts, man?
Go watch some Super Pets. It's fine.
Jay, man, give us some final thoughts.
Man, my August so far sucks. Everything has been going wrong, but I'm not gonna let it get me down. I'm gonna read my comics. I'm gonna watch my Paper Girls, and I'm gonna keep going.
Cool. Jay, since you do got Prime, I think you should check out Night Sky.
Oh, is that the one with J.K. Simmons?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's a weird sci-fi thing, but it is character driven, so it's not too much sci-fi. And I need your perspective on it because I've been watching it and I enjoy it, but I don't know if it's really my thing. I can't put my finger on what what it is about it. Yeah.
Okay, I'll check it out.
Yeah, as for me and as for Larry, look, hit like, subscribe, hit the bell. We'll be here next week. Next week, what is it that we said we might talk about? The Cradle of Filth comic, something else?
Superman, Space Age,
Superman, Space
and
Age,
Harley Quinn.
and Harley Quinn. So yeah, stay tuned for that next week. And then hit us up on social media. We'll be there. And yeah, I'll see you next week. We're out.